once and for all, why don't, I'm sitting here thinking, why don't we just simply break this thing down?
Break it down, break it down, break it down. Pull in these scriptures, let me show you how to break it down. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. If you pull in that scripture, you need to break it down. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. Pull in these scriptures, let me show you how to break it down. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. If you pull in that scripture, you need to break it down.
Yo. All right. Today's topic is, are we cherry picking the Bible? Are we cherry picking the Bible? So I'm doing this again because the last video got messed up. Starting at Exodus 20 and 20. So I'm gonna be going through some verses that I think we can agree with, that we should be keeping, and then I will go through some verses that I think people can agree on. So the first ones are like a for sure, I guess, if you want to say, and then the second ones are more like I think they'll agree on. Then the third ones are like something they may agree on, but say like we don't have to or something. So let's start with the first ones. All right. So Exodus 20 and 20 says, and Moses said to the people, do not fear, for God has come to test you, and that his fear may be before you, so that you may not sin. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near. So what we see here is the fear of God. I think and then so part of these are verses I believe that are not in the New Testament. If Paul there may be what's it called? There may be some that like Paul was talking about, or people might quote Paul. The only reason why I'm not gonna, even though I think there may be only like one or two, and I'm not gonna accept those because Paul followed the law. So, and then so we deal with, and if I'm wrong, anybody can comment, correct me, and if you don't like why I'm accepting Paul, then we can deal with that. We can talk about it. But I'm gonna give you verses that I think that don't say them anywhere. Dealing with the first one when it says to fear God. Now, some Christians might go to a verse and say, "Love casts out all fear," thinking that you don't need to fear God. So that's why I put this one in there, because it says it does. I don't think it says fear God in the New Testament. Plus, but what I do know it talks about is to tremble at His word and to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. So, love casting out all fear will nullify this law. So that's why I'm presenting it, and it's not something taught. Um, moving on to the book of Leviticus 19:26. You shall not eat anything with blood, nor shall you practice divination or soothsaying. Okay, we're focused on the divination. Then you continue 31. Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. So we have the practicing of people going to mediums and psychics and stuff like that, which is condemned condemned in the Old Testament, but not in the New Testament. And I think that's something that we can agree on, that we shouldn't be doing. And moving down to 32, it says, you shall rise before the gray-headed and honor the presence of an old man. Some call it the elders, or some verses, or some translations. So we've all heard that respect your elders. I don't know why I don't have this one, but charging elders, right? So let's see. I'm sorry. So charging more, or so I'm over here reading. Respecting your elders, older person, and this is like a command to rise or stand up. So in the presence of them, you're supposed to stand up and show respect. So you would either go and shake your hand, and now this falls under brother love, but some people may not see it as something you actually have to do. Some people see respecting your elders is basically being not disrespectful. So as long as you're not being disrespectful, you're not being like evil in speech and stuff like that, then you're fine. But this one says you should shout, you should rise up. So when they come in the room, you stand up. When you come in the room, you shake their hand, you know? Or I would say stand up, just say shake your hand. But the main thing is obviously respect your elders. Let's go on to Deuteronomy 6 and 7. Deuteronomy. What is going? Come on. Goodness gracious. Why is this thing tweaking? Alright, Deuteronomy. Oh my gosh. Come on. YouTube. Why is this? That's why my Wi-Fi out here tweaking. This Wi-Fi be messing up, man. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I don't know why this is... Okay. Deuteronomy. There we go. Oh my gosh, it says Leviticus still. Alright, let's see. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. Let's see. It pulls up Deuteronomy. Thank you. Alright. So, you shall teach them diligently. You shall teach, talking about your children. You shall teach them diligently to your children the laws. You shall talk with them when you sit at your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Now, part of the reason why I brought this up is it doesn't say this in the New Testament. Now, of course, we all believe that you should be teaching kids about Christ. But part of this is, notice it says, you shall teach them, shall talk to them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. So this is something that is going on at your house. Some people do this with school. Some people only teach or allow the system to teach your kids. But you can't. We gotta teach our kids, you know. And that's part of the thing is you can't do same thing with the church. You can't just bring your kids to church. We should be teaching our kids at the house. And even, you know, while walking, you know, while you're driving around in your car sometimes. So this is something that you can use to correct someone. Like Paul says, all scriptures are good for correction, but this is part of the law. So if someone's only sends their kids to church, only someone who actually subscribes to the law, unless you're gonna cherry pick this, you would be able to be like, hey, yo, you know, the Bible says this and this in Deuteronomy and the law and the Torah, and you got the responsibility as well. You got to teach your kids as well. Some people will be like, oh, well, we won't follow the law. I'll just bring them to school. This one I definitely think people agree on. Deuteronomy 22. Deuteronomy 22 and verses 5. A woman shall not wear anything that pertains to a man, nor shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all who do so are an abomination to the Lord. Now, you ain't gonna find this in the New Testament. But I know everybody agrees that we should not be cross-dressing, and they believe that we should still follow this law. So, cross-dressing. I'm not going to be able to correct somebody unless you're coming from the Torah. And some people use that, man. Some people you'd be surprised the type of cards they pull. You know, if they don't find something like this in the New Testament, they won't subscribe to it. And this, for the unbeliever too, you have people that, or even people that profess to believe, they think it's okay to be gay because, oh, well, the New Testament is the same thing about gay. Jesus never said anything about being gay. But when you really dive into it, he did. And yes, the New Testament does. So, and that's why I never put it in here. But that just goes to show you that when you use that mentality that, oh, well, we don't follow the law, that can get us into a bind, because there's things that are part of the law only that we need to correct people, like Paul says. And that's why Paul would not subscribe to the way Christianity is subscribed. Now we're going to move on to back to Exodus 22, because remember, I'm going through a certain type of verses. So Exodus 22 and 25. If you lend any money to any of my people, who are among you, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not charge him interest. So, like, this is why this is marked a little different, because you might agree with that, you might not agree with that. I mean, most people, I think, would agree with that. That they're not going to charge interest to a poor person. And most people would just give to a poor person. But poor doesn't always mean you don't have anything. It could be low poverty, so it's not to say that someone can't pay you back. So, you know, just, you know, if you have, there's maybe a poor person you help out, but, you know him, but he actually wants to pay you back. So, there's nothing wrong with lending a poor person something and having it back. But some people may say that they can charge them interest. But this verse says you can't charge them interest. Let's go to Leviticus 19:13. You shall not cheat your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of him who is hired shall not remain with you all night until morning. I don't know if it's clear enough. I'll show you another verse to help you make it clear. In the New International Version, what is it? 13 says, do not defraud or rob your neighbor. Do not hold back the wages of a hired worker overnight. Okay, you see, it's basically telling you should be paid every day. And it's crazy because it calls it robbery. You're stealing from it. So technically you're stealing. So so Christians are stealing from breaking the 10 Commandments. Yeah, so basically we should get paid every day. And again, I think that's something we could all agree with. We wouldn't mind doing that. But the only way you're going to get that support is from the Torah. So, and all these are from the Torah. This isn't even, I didn't even go through verses that are oh man, I forgot to get it right now. But I mean, there's also scriptures all over that I think we can agree on. There are, sorry, I gotta write a note now. There are scriptures in Proverbs, and I didn't go through everything. I only went through the Torah, whatever's in the law. Even though the law is the New Testament writers sometimes refer to the law, or even the prophets were referred to as the law. So moving on to 20th verse. Let's see. Oh, okay, 19. Sometimes I don't know why it said that. You shall not let your livestock breed with another kind. Shall not sow your field with mixed seed, nor shall you mix the garment with linen wool upon you. Now, this is actually a good example of the cherry picking, because these verses, I guarantee you somebody disagrees with one of these verses, and I think we all can agree that you shouldn't be mixed breeding animals. And many of us will say, God, everything happens for a reason. But when you take that logic and bring it here, why did he say this? Why did he say this? Why did he say that? Maybe there's a reason. Just because you don't understand it, you're not supposed to lean on your understanding. It doesn't mean that there's not a reason for it. So, I don't think God cares if I'm wearing cotton, wool, or cotton and, silk or whatever. But, even to me, that doesn't sound legit. It's like, why would you care? But there's a reason behind that. So, moving on to 28. Again, I think there are mixed issues with this one. Some people are not agreeing. Some people do and don't agree with this. Verse 28. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. People get tattoos of people all the time. It says cuttings in your flesh, and you're definitely cutting your flesh. And even if you don't really think so, there are some people that are doing like engravings, which is crazy. And again, you know, some people don't agree with this, some people don't agree with this, so that's why it's kind of one of the iffy ones. But if you agree with no tattoos, then you're pulling it from the Torah, and we are cherry picking the Bible. Leviticus 25. Leviticus 25 and 16. According to the multitude of your years, you shall increase its price. Okay, yeah. And according to the fewer numbers of years, you shall diminish its price. Right, so you basically are only supposed to charge more for the increase, and when you have less, you charge less. You don't charge more. That we're doing the opposite. Yeah, so I mean, and it doesn't make sense to us at first because, again, we've learned the opposite. But you know, the more things you have in abundance, then yeah, you could charge a more price, a better price. I don't think it means you have to keep going up and up and up. But when you have things in abundance, then you can charge a higher price. When you have things in low abundance, you gotta charge cheaper so people can afford it, so people can do so. Still eat, you know. And I think that's one we can agree on, but some people might buck. Deuteronomy 7:26. Nor shall you bring, okay. You shall not basically bring an abomination into your house. That should be doomed to destruction. This word is also translated detestable. Do not bring a detestable thing into your house. So I think we'd all agree on that. We'd all agree that, I mean, adultery is detestable to the Lord. Okay? And what is adultery? You having pornos, you having women all over your garage, you know. And some people do this, man. Some people have these pictures of half naked women all over their, you know, on the walls or whatever, their collages. You know, maybe, you know, some people would agree or that idols are wrong, you know, stuff like that. I mean, it should be wrong for a Christian to not bring in a Hindu god into their house, because it's a god to them. It's an idol, you know, of someone else. I shouldn't be bringing Muhammad into my house, I mean, or whatever, you know. So it's like, I think we can agree that you don't want detestable things, and I think the biggest thing is we gotta make sure we're not saying detestable according to us. It's got to be detestable according to God, because that's when you start to say, well, oh no, these pictures look cool, or you start to make excuses why you could bring certain things in, and you start to become the standard. Oh yeah, I think this is a good one. Deuteronomy 24 and 5. I think a lot of people may agree with this. When a man has taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war to be charged with any business. He shall be free at home 1 year, and bring happiness to his wife whom he has taken. So I think we should. That's a good rule, and I think many people would agree that we should not send people to war if you just get married. Enjoy your wife and whatever. And I think there's plenty of people out there that just get married, or they even get married like overseas or something like that, and so that's a good rule to have, but we could only enforce that through the Torah. 24 and 6. No man shall take the lower or the upper millstone in pledge, for he takes one's living in pledge. So basically, what this verse says, you can look at another. You could look at some commentaries and another version. It's like talking about someone's livelihood. So I can't take your house as a pledge, as a debt, to make sure you pay me my debt. But what happens? People actually get foreclosed. People get foreclosed, and now they don't have a place to live because they got to pay a debt. Well, the law says you're not allowed to do that. You can't just put someone on the street because they can't pay their stuff. Yeah, I know. I mean, that, like, well, they need to pay me, boo, this and that. I know that you're right, but God doesn't say you got to leave them. Don't leave them out there. That's messed up. That's unlawful. Can't put people on the street. And what's messed up is even mothers with kids and stuff get put on the street. It could be a single mom. It's not like it's just like random, people. Sometimes they're single parents, and they get put out because they can't pay. According to the law, that's wrong. See it better in Israel. Deuteronomy 25 and 4. Deuteronomy 25, 22, 25, 25. Deuteronomy 25 verse 4. I'm trying to tell him where to go. Yeah. You shall not muzzle an ox while treading out its grain. Do you know the implications of that? I don't. I have no clue what that means. I'm not grown up in the farm. I don't know anything about farming. I've heard somebody bring that example out once, and again, it made sense to me, but I mean, I don't really know much. But I believe it's there for, I think it has a good reason, and if you're a farmer and you can agree with that, then that's only found in the Old Testament and in Paul's writings. Alright, now let's do this one. Let's go, because there's a few more that are kind of in this category, and then there's other ones that are even more on the side of people will probably say it doesn't really matter, but this is still in the category for the most in the middle. Exodus 22 and 2 says, if the thief is found breaking in and he is if a man let's start at 2. If if the thief is found breaking in and he is struck, so he dies, there shall be no guilt for his bloodshed. If the sun has risen, yeah, that's all. So there's like another verse that talks about alright, so let me check something over here. Because there's another verse that says if he breaks in at night and he's struck with a blow. This is saying right here, I don't know what this is talking about Matthew 6:19. Just gonna take a look at that because I didn't think this was in the New Testament. And like I said, anything could be corrected here. This is the point of us talking. Everybody's gotta be open to correction. That's how we build. That's how we get stronger. That's how we learn more. Yeah, well, it definitely doesn't say that. So let's do an NIV so people can see. See, it says, if a thief is caught breaking in at night and is struck a fatal blow, the defender is not guilty. What if it happens after sunrise? So, sunrise, you can, obviously you can assess the situation better. At night, you don't understand what's going on. You're just doing what you have to do, right? Now, the law says you are free of guilt, and I think we can all agree with that. That you should be able to defend yourself even to death. But some Christians actually don't think that you can defend yourself, and they would say that right here you're allowed to just let somebody take your stuff. In that verse, they'll cover both of these. Kill two birds with one verse. Kill two birds with one verse. Kill two demons with one verse. Because what happens is you have the verse that they're gonna use they think it's talking about a lack of self-defense, like you're not allowed to, and then also they're gonna think that it's telling you that you're allowed to let people just take your stuff. That's not true. In that verse you're talking about is usually dealing with a lawsuit, if I'm thinking of the right one. So actually, yeah, let's try this one. Leviticus 5:1. It says, if anyone sins because they do not speak up when they hear a public charge to testify regarding something they have seen or learned about, they will be held responsible. Now some people might say that's none of my business, I don't have to. Yeah, you do. That's what the book says. And I know it don't say that in the New Testament. So, yeah. Alright, let's go back to Exodus 21:33. Exodus 21:33. Yeah. If anyone uncovers a pit or digs one and fails to cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the one who opened the pit must pay the owner for the loss and take the dead animal in exchange. Now, so not only do you have to pay for your negligence, you gotta clean up the mess. Someone might think that they don't have this right. They might say, what's it called? might say, oh no, you're fine forgiveness. I mean, but the law says you're allowed to. It says you're allowed to charge interest. And it's because of the person's negligence. It's not just because of accident, usually. Just like when you get in a car accident, if the person that the company is gonna call you, and the other person's insurance will call you, and they'll try to like find a way to make you responsible, and they'll at least a little bit in some sort of way. That's how they have this percentage of how much they're gonna cover, because it's like, oh, you were being negligent about this and that, so like you also had a responsibility. And that's what we see going on here, is that you can be negligent. You have a responsibility to do certain things, and if you don't, then that's that you gotta pay for that. So don't be digging no ditches and not covering them up, alright? Dang. What's wrong with y'all? You getting tired, you lazy. Dig the ditch half-assed. Can't be working half like that. You gotta work hard, baby. Exodus 22:12. But if the animal was stolen from the neighbor, restitution must be made to the owner. If it was torn by pieces, Alright, let's start at 11. The issue between them will be settled by the taking of an oath before the Lord that the neighbor did not. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's start at 10. I'm sorry. If anyone gives a donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal to the neighbor for safekeeping, pet sitting, and it dies or is injured or is taken away while no one is looking, the issue between them will be settled by the taking of an oath before the Lord that the neighbor did not lay hands on the other person's property. The owner is to accept this, and no restitution is required. But if the animal was stolen from the neighbor, restitution must be made to the owner. If it was torn to pieces by a wild animal, the neighbor shall bring in the remains as evidence. So there's stipulations for, like, if your pet's sitting and the animal gets stolen, you gotta pay restitution for that, and probably for negligence again. You're watching somebody's dog, and the dog got stolen. What were you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be watching the dog. So if you're being negligent, then you gotta pay for your negligence, and we can support that with the law. Exodus 22:16. What was it? Let me go to 16. I was trying to. Alright, I'm trying to see if I can find this. Hopefully I can not delete this verse. This is gonna support the verse. Give me a second. So this is Exodus 22:16. Yeah. So if a man seduces a virgin who is not pledged to be married and sleeps with her, he must pay the bride price, and he shall be his wife. So basically, So basically, you like if you seduce a woman and whatever happens, you should marry her. Not only are we not supposed to be bouncing around, but you should just marry the woman because you obviously went that far with her. And that actually happens. Some people still agree with that. Some people, I hear them say something like that, like, at least like, oh, you should be with the woman. They might not say married because we don't think of it like that. Then yeah. So, and I'm sorry. So basically, what was happening is I was trying to find the verse. There's a verse that actually says that someone married someone by going into them. So it's you can that is a way you can that's how they married back in the day, or that was a form of marriage. So let's see, let's go Exodus 23:11. But during the 7th year, let the land lie unplowed and unused. So basically, like, this is a land rest. So if you're a farmer, you might know more about this. And the law says that you should let your land rest for the 7th year. And I believe they do such a thing like that with rotating crops and stuff like that. And so some may agree, some may not agree. This one I think people can agree on. Well, they may agree on it, but they definitely wouldn't say that they have to do it, I guess. But according to law, you have to do this. Like you should be doing it. It's a sin if you don't do it. Leviticus 19:09. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap. Leviticus 19:9. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edges of your field, or gather the gleaning of your harvest. Do not go over your vineyard a second time, or pick up the grapes that have fallen. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner. So again, I think that's something we all can agree on. But they wouldn't see it as something they have to do, or some people never even knew the Bible said that, so they probably wouldn't even think twice about that. They just give to the poor. And on top of all this law too, they're still giving to the poor. It's not just like, oh, that's how we gave to the poor. Numbers 35:6. And my very last scripture will show you another definite cherry picking of the law of the Bible. We are cherry picking the Bible. Numbers 35:6. 6 of the towns you give to the Levites and will be cities of refuge, to which a person who has killed someone may flee. And alright, so there should be cities set aside so someone can run. So if they have if they've accidentally murdered someone, or until they're going to court and stuff like that, it's just like a city of refuge. And again, people might not agree with that, but I thought it was an interesting one to put in. This also is an interesting one too. Deuteronomy 22:8. When you build a new house, make a parapet around your roof so that you may not bring the guilt of bloodshed on your house if someone falls from the roof. So basically, on all the houses, like no houses got this. All houses need to be built with a parapet. You know what a parapet is? Me neither. I had to look it up. It's a border around your house. So it's like a border around your house to make sure nobody falls off your roof. I mean, you would think that would be common sense. Like, we would think that like, who's gonna disagree with that? Like, I'm gonna be surprised if somebody disagrees with that. No, I don't need that. The only way you disagree with that is because you don't want to pay more money. Deuteronomy 23:24. If you enter your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat all the grapes you want, but do not put any in your basket. If you enter your neighbor's grainyard, you may pick kernels with your hands, but you must not put a sickle to their standing grain. So you can go in your neighbor's field. This ain't even for poor people. This is for anybody. So I can go in my neighbor's field. He out there growing strawberries and growing whatever. I should be able to go over there and eat some. I just can't take them home. I think that's an awesome law. I like that law. We need to get back to the law. About that life. Alright. Got a couple more left. Gonna be quick. So Deuteronomy 24:10. When you make a loan of any kind to your neighbor, do not go into their house to get what is offered to you as a pledge. Stay outside and let the neighbor to whom you are making the loan bring the pledge to you. So basically, we don't be harassing people. See, that's what it sounds like it's saying to me. Like, don't be harassing your neighbor. Let them come to you. And you should be going to them. I shouldn't have to harass you. No one should have to harass you for their money or for anything you owe them. You should go to them. Moving on to 19. When you are harvesting your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back to get it. Sheaf is like a bundle of grain or something like that. As a noun for I don't know what that is. But I ain't grabbing it. I'm not allowed to go back for that. If you out there harvesting your strawberries, you accidentally leave a bundle of strawberries. Don't go back. I'll be over there picking them. But yeah, so just another thing. You just like people would overlook this verse. I mean, even me. I would, even if I've been a farmer, I don't think I would have never knew this. And the second to last, Deuteronomy 32. Now this is it actually starts in 33, because basically what happens is you have God's about to send these people into the land, and he gives them this song. It's called the Song of Moses, that they sing to remember the blessings of God and to remember the curses of God. So when they sing in this song, even in their curses, they'll remember what's going on. And again, so I just thought that it was a good thing that we would teach this law. Or, the law of singing. Now, last but not least, I don't know, I had the verse again. Because I don't need a verse. You all know what we're talking about now. So, this is what, the last one I want to go over is, because we all know the church does this, is tithing. Actually, let me pull it up. Because the reason why we're gonna pull this up is because it's something I gotta show you. Because although we tithe, I do not spell. I'm not a speller. We know. Oh my goodness! We all know the church asks for tithes. Now we're gonna see. Not only are we cherry picking the law by tithing, this is not commanded in the New Testament, but but it was for the Levites. Look, even the New Testament says it. I mean, but it was. And look, and Luke, it says, I give tithes. And Luke was found the law. They still had the temple back then. Don't even try that. Alright. I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry. Let me look. I'll find it. Click it this way. Because there's a part of the tithing that they are not doing. And this is so much easier when you Google. You can Google it. So I guess it's in Deuteronomy 8. Deuteronomy 8. Let's go to. No, sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Gosh. Why is this thing taking forever? Alright, here we go. 14. Deuteronomy 14, I'm sorry. There we go, this is it. 14 and 28. Deuteronomy 14 and 28. Ain't no pastor following this, I guarantee it. At the end of every third year, bring all the tithes. Alright? Bring them all to the altar and give it to the foreigner, the fatherless, the widow. But they ain't doing it. You ain't gotta lie. Alright, I'm done playing. So, at the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's bank account, money, produce, and store it into your towns, so that the Levites and the foreigner and the fatherless and the widows who live in your towns may come and pay their bills and eat. Tithing is food. You can't get around that. This is 100% proof that the church is cherry picking. Not only is tithing the Old Testament, not only are they not doing the full tithe, but the tithe is not even money. God, dude, that's crazy to me. 3 strikes you out, right? 3? I got 3 strikes. Gosh. So there we go, man. You know, are we cherry picking the Bible? This is the biggest thing that came to this is the biggest thing of why I believe we gotta follow along with cherry picking. This big contradiction going on. Oh, yeah, so thanks guys, I appreciate it. All right. Shalom, peace and grace to anyone, all of y'all. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and keep his commandments. All right. Shalom. Please follow, like, comment, sheep work. Back at it again.
Once and for all, why don't, I'm saying a thing to be why don't we just simply break this thing down,
Break it down.